Okay, now this is the best part of exponents, is putting everything together that you have learned. So, if you haven't watched all the videos, like they say there's an app for that, there's a video for that. So go and watch the videos on everything else before this to help you with the exponents. Now we're going to combine everything. Alright, so first thing, I always like to get rid of negative exponents. So I make all my negative exponents positive. So whenever you're dealing with a fraction, you basically put it on the other side of the fraction. So what I mean by that is x to the negative fourth is on the top of the fraction. I'm going to put it on the bottom of the fraction to make this negative 4 a positive 4. Then we'll leave my y squared at the top. Then at the bottom, I still have an x squared, and I want this negative to be a positive. So since it's y to the negative fifth is on the bottom of the fraction, in order to make it positive, I'm going to put it at the top. Same thing as calling it the reciprocal. Now I'm going to combine what I can. So remember, our power rule tells us that we have the bases that are the same. We can add our exponents. So we have 2 plus 5 over 4 plus 2. So we have y to the 7th over x to the 6th. Now remember, we have a y and an x, so we cannot combine these because our bases are different. So this is going to be my final answer. Now, that is not the only way you could do it. For example, you can go straight to the quotient rule. Remember, the quotient rule tells us that when you're dividing with the same base, you subtract your exponents. So if we did it that way, we would have x to the negative 4 minus 2, y squared minus a negative 5. So this is going to give me x to the negative 6. Remember, this is going to become a plus, so that's going to give me y to the 7th. Now we can't have a negative exponent in our final answer, so we need to take this x to the negative 6 and do the reciprocal, or put it on the bottom of our fraction. So it's going to be, y to the 7 over x to the 6. So we get the same answer, two different methods of doing it. So even when I'm doing this next problem, you might say, oh, but I did it different, but I got the same answer. Is that okay? Yes. Now this is a wonderful problem because it has all the rules in one problem. So, like I said, I like to get rid of my negative exponents. Just me. So I'm going to get rid of all my negative exponents. So what that's going to do, I'm going to put this 3 squared on the bottom. x4 on the bottom. X squared is raised to the negative 3. So I'm going to put x squared, and now that negative 3 is going to be positive. Now on the bottom, I still have this 7, because this negative 1 is only attached to this x squared. So don't put the 7 at the top, just this x squared. Bam. Now all of my negative exponents are gone. And the main reason I do that is because most students make mistakes whenever they're dealing with multiplying, dividing, adding, or subtracting with negative numbers, and that helps to take away those little mistakes. All right, so now let's combine these. So I'm going to keep my x squared at the top. 3 squared gives me 9. I have x to the 4th. Then I'm going to have 2 times 3. So I'm going to have x to the 6th. And we still have this times 7. All right. And as I said, you can do this many different ways. I'm going to keep this x squared at the top. Okay, 9 times 7 gives me 63. And then I have same base. I'm multiplying them, so I'm going to add x to the 10th. Now my final step is I have to combine these x's. one way you can think about it is, I'm going to have, if you wrote it all out, you'd have the 2 at the top cancel out, or you can think of 2 minus 10, and that's going to give you x to the 8th. Now, if you're wondering why I put a 1 there, it's because, say we did write this out. So am I going to have space here? If I have x times x over 10 of these, these are going to become, they don't just disappear, it's becoming 1. So I could put a 1 here. This is becoming a 1. Okay, 1 times 1 gives you 1. That might help if you get confused on what to put up here. It's not a 0, it's a 1. Because x over x, any number divided by any number, or any letter divided by itself, always equals 1. So that's where that 1 comes from. So I recommend you put this tape on pause, go back and do these problems, and see if you get the same answers. All right, you have a great day. See you next time.